Howdy y'all, it's Cody from the Keepers Nerdum. Hope you're doing well. I wanted to take today and have a fantastic little intro thing to one of my favorite HQ units that I got introduced to in Warhammer 40k for the Necrons right off the bat, and that is the Necron Royal Warden. This is actually one of my first earliest paint job things that I did, other than maybe a warrior or two. I wanted to really give him something special, and so I made sure he looks the part, and then I ironically changed my color scheme on energy for the weapons from green to blue, although you can see the blue already here in the process. But let me tell you, getting those separated was quite the chore. But overall, the Royal Warden, he got a lot of detail, a lot of TLC, but the clear coat kind of did some interesting bubbling on him. I've learned a few lessons since then. But overall, really, really fantastic model, fun to paint. And if you'll notice the skull and stuff down here, that was part of the base that it came with. And then I added some extra bits just to give it this effect of, hey, this is a terrain area that you're in, kind of like a desert sand area that you've destroyed and going over the battlefield. But Royal Warden is interesting because according to the book right here, Royal Warden costs 75 points. This has actually been reduced by 5 points, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they've had several reductions this past year, which is really, really important for the Necrons. And let's just run through, why is the Royal Warden such an interesting piece? And honestly, it's one of my go-to HQs because of how useful he actually is. And there's several reasons for that. So Royal Warden, he only has 6-inch movement, but that's a good standard movement. 3 and 3 ballistic and weapon skills, strength 5, toughness 5, so he's semi-durable. 4 wounds only, that's all. 3 attacks at melee. Unfortunately, he has nothing past that, so his melee is actually terrible, but he does get 3 attacks, so that's good. 10 leadership, he's never going to fail that because he's off by himself. 3+ armor save, it's okay. Living metal, so he heals back a wound as long as he's not dead. Every turn, command protocols, he gains access to those, which is really good. Adaptive strategy, in your command phase, you can select one friendly Dynasty Core unit within 9 inches of this model. Until the end of the turn, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge within a turn in which they fell back. We'll talk about that in a minute, because that's really where he shines. And then Relentless March aura, while a friendly Dynasty Core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time that unit is selected to make a normal move or advance until the end of the phase, add 1 inch to the move characteristics of models in that unit. So, needless to say, he is fantastic for helping out other things move, but a lot of things have a Relentless March, so that's not really that important. We'll come back to Adaptive Strategy, because that's where he really shines. Relic Gauss Blaster. 30-inch range, rapid fire 2. 5 strength, -2 AP, 2 damage. It's one of the few, especially smaller type characters that have 2 damage on their weapon, and he has a 30-inch range. Very good, actually. Like, this is a good gun. You can definitely tell he's a newer type of character for the Necrons, and he is fantastic. One of the things that if you run Mefrit, and we'll talk about that. We'll sound like I ripped my book. Let's see. Sorry, I gotta get there we go. Relics. It's one of my favorite things to run, even though most people probably like don't take it. It's not worth it. It's the Conduit of Stars. Okay, it's a Mefrit model only, so if you take Mefrit as your faction, you can get this thing. This replaces the Relic Gauss Blaster and has the following profile. It's called the Conduit of Stars. I love the name. So right off the bat, this thing has a 36-inch range, which if you're Mefrit, you get a 30-inch bonus. So this is actually 39 inches. All right, rapid fire 3 instead of 2, so if you get within half of 39 inches, so you're almost 20 inches is still your half range, which is insane. 6 shots. At strength 6, -2 AP, so the AP doesn't change, damage doesn't change, but it's the strength of 6 that's really crazy, and the amount of shots. All of a sudden, rapid fire 3, you could be putting in 6 shots into someone, and all of a sudden, this guy that is supposed to be an HQ that's just helping out other things becomes crazy, crazy deadly. Now, why is he super, super useful? He is super useful because of this thing right here, adaptive strategy, right? He allows you to select one friendly Dynasty Core unit within 9 inches of this model. So if one of the units models is within 9 inches, you can select them, and then until the end of the turn, that unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which they fell back. Now, the charge thing isn't necessarily the most important, although that actually could be. So say if you have Scorpec destroyers that are now core in front of you, they could actually fall back and then charge in so they get to attack before the opponent. That could actually be really, really, really good, because then you could save your units from getting decimated before they even get to attack. Very, very important. Where this really shines just right off the bat, one of the easiest things is to run him with a Necron warrior blob of 20 warriors, because in close quarters combat, they have 1 attack, and it's just standard, which would be strength 4, 0 AP, 1 damage. Not going to do much, although miracles happen, right? What you're trying to do, though, is withdraw them, because you really want them to get in with this gun again and shoot hard at their opponent's face. That's important. That's the big deal. That's the win. Royal Warden makes this happen, and he makes them also an inch faster. You know, and anything that's within that aura gets that 1 inch. So, needless to say, Royal Warden, just this little guy, he's a beautiful model anyway, and that gun is really cool because it's just a bigger version of stuff. Like, honestly, it really reminds me of what they carry for their secondary gun, but also the Gauss Reaper. And, you know, it's like the Immortals gun as well. Overall, this is where things shine, right? This is where you take things like crazy, because people, they charge in, they go, oh, now your Necron warriors are useless. You don't have to use a command protocol switch up and then get like -1 to attack. You can just use your Royal Warden, withdraw these guys, be within half range, and, you know, say 15 or 10 are still alive. You get to assault 2 and shoot them. Plus everybody else in your squad, in your team, including Royal Warden, can now shoot them. And if you've got the conduit of stars, all of a sudden you've got 6 shots, and you're going to be within half range because you're pumping up the Necron warriors. You're within half range, so therefore he actually is giving crazy, crazy damage out with 6 shots with the conduit of stars, and so are the Necron warriors and the rest of your team, however you want to placement. So overall, this little simple ability changes everything in the game. So if you play Necrons, he's not necessarily always a go ahead and take him, right? But he's pretty darn close, because he has the ability to keep your Necron warriors doing what they do best, and that's shooting. Because there's nothing worse than getting tied down by something coming into you and you can't really melee back because you're just not very good at melee. The best thing you can do is withdraw them, have them fall back, and oh, look at this, because of Royal Warden, they can now shoot, and if you really wanted to, charge again. And maybe you do actually want to charge, say it's a model set that has really good guns, and you just wanted to shoot them really quickly and then charge back into them because their melee is not very good, and for some reason they had meleeed you because they knew Necron warriors were not very good. But this way, you get to shoot them, deal with them, and then your Necron warriors are actually safe from attack because, like, from shooting, because they're now re-engaged with these things because they're probably not going to kill anything. And if they do kill it, well, good. Then there's less fire coming in. You know, there's less charge attacks. There's less stuff. And that's a win-win-win. So overall, I think Royal Warden is just, for me, he's almost always a put him in the fight because he's just that good. But let me know down in the comments below. Like and share. Subscribe, please, to help us keep building this channel and look at all these Necron things and other nerdy discussions. I've been Cody from the Keepers of Nerddom. Take care. Have a good day.